Okay, Tim.
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah,
on for a second.
I'm it.
Okay, let me do an intro.
Those are my
go on this
pronouns.
thing.
Sorry.
Let's go on this thing. Don't worry about that.
Okay. All right. Okay, Howard.
Okay.
Quiet on the
Scott, you
set,
started.
Tim.
You're the host. You got to start.
This
I'm
is
just
already
a
the most
co-host,
chaotic
guest host.
interview I've ever conducted. Okay, everyone. Hi, I'm Scott Woods, and I'm happy today to be with a few friends. Howard Druckman, the man of the hour, will explain why. Bev Kreller. Do I call you Bev or Beverly? I call you Bev when I talk to you, but
yeah, Bev is good.
Bev is good. Okay. And Tim Powis. And
Yeah.
we are here.
Tim is good. You can call me Timothy.
Timothy. Okay. We're here on the occasion of Howard's. Well, I'll call it your retirement, but it doesn't sound like your work is entirely over. But you just recently retired from SOCAN. I think you were there for 25 years. But this is going to be a broad conversation, I think. Obviously, we want to talk about your experience at SOCAN and in the Canadian music industry and so forth. But you know, Tim and I have known you for a long time. I haven't known Bev all that long. But you know, you've done a lot of great work in Canadian music history over the years, and we definitely want to dive into some of that. Who wants to start and ask the man of the hour some? Yeah, well, why don't you start then? You're the man.
Well, I'll start with I just want to say one thing, and that is that even among my workmates at SOCAN, I did my very best to avoid calling it a retirement because, you know, I'm not going to be, to quote Kip Harness, drinking Maalox and watching Matlock. I'm basically decided that the time was right for me to go. And what I want to do is basically continue having all kinds of different musical adventures, just more, you know, intentional, more of my choosing, more of the stuff I want to do when I want to do it and at my own pace. But I still am going to be absolutely involved in music in Toronto, across the country, maybe even internationally doing some stuff.
What form do you see that involvement taking, or what?
Well, I might be involved in doing some research and interviews for a movie project. And definitely have an idea for a book that I think I want to pursue. You know, I can still freelance and pitch ideas that I think are worth doing here and there. And I might get involved with TME, the Toronto Music Experience, which Nick Jennings is involved in, and is the idea of sort of establishing a space to celebrate and recognize and support Toronto music. So all kinds of irons in the fire.
When I look at your, you know, you sent us your resume, and there's been a few things about you online and what you've done over the years, and I feel like you've done a lot of different things, but it all kind of dances around, you know, similar things, a similar thing basically. But I'm curious from your perspective, like, what do you see as the through line in your work, or what is Howard's theme over, you know, I'm going to say 45 years of doing this. Well, 40 years probably, right? If you count going back to your days at Nerve, and maybe you were even doing some writing before that. And I'd like to ask you about that too, by the way. But what is the thing you think you've been doing, if you had to sort of narrow it down to one thing, understanding that your actual job titles and so forth have, you know, been varied? So,
well, that's actually not so hard for me to do, because what I've always been, I mean, since I was 12 years old, what I've always done and found a way to do it professionally, which is really kind of amazing and very lucky, and I'm very thankful, is I've always been a cheerleader for music I love. And that's just been a complete through line right from the beginning. Yes, I'm a critic in the same sense that you or Tim are critics. And I, you know, evaluate work that comes through, and some stuff I like, some stuff I don't like. But rather than sort of talk about the stuff that I don't like, I tend to focus on what I do and just share that enthusiasm as far and as wide as I can. And that's always been what I do. I've you know, which is why SOCAN was such a good fit, because we're there to celebrate members, not tear them down or even, you know, criticize them. It's basically about telling their story, which I love doing. The other through line, if there is one, especially at SOCAN over the last 25 years, has been songwriting, because that's what they're about, is the songwriters and the music publishers. So those are the basic through line. Really, enthusiasm, cheerleading for artists I enjoy, and focusing on songwriting and the mysterious process of that.
And for a while you were actually involved in a business way with a singer-songwriter, Bob Snyder.
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually did some work as a manager in the 90s. I managed a few people, actually. I managed Bob Snyder, who actually, he did very well. He would have done well with or without me, but I was very lucky, very grateful, happy to be along for that ride. He was signed to EMI Music Canada, for Canada, and he was signed to a global publishing deal with Pure Music. So it was wonderful to be along for that ride. And Bob is just an amazing human being. He's Chris Vautour, our mutual friend, called him a welterweight sage. And I think that's a fairly good description of Bob. He's just a really evolved human being, and very gentle and very wise, and very, very funny. While I was managing, I did hold jobs. I was actually, that's not true. I was doing, what was I doing? Chart came after managing. While I was managing, I was working at HMV and doing data entry there. So that was what I was doing while I was managing.
Yeah. Weren't you at Sam's for a little bit too?
I was at Sam's, actually, thanks to you, Tim, who recommended me for that job.
I wasn't looking for a, but
no.
But I don't remember you being in an HMV, so I thought maybe you, you got the details of your own career wrong. No, I didn't think that.
I was at Sam's. HMV would have been in the 90s, and Sam's was after that, in the early turn of the millennium kind of thing. And that was through Tim, and that was my first job as the editor of a website. Well, I was the editor of a magazine, and then I was sort of the editor of a website when I was at Sam the Record Man. You asked a question, Bev?
No, I just wanted to mention about, you're talking about career, so I just wanted to mention about his work at Long and McQuaid.
That's true. I was
Long and McQuaid? Wow.
Honest to God, this is actually kind of funny. I was working at Chart, and the pay was so modest that I had to take other work. So I started to work Saturdays in the parking lot at Long and McQuaid, directing traffic, because they were very, very busy, and they still are. Like every weekend, they're really, really busy.
Yeah. And they've got this dinky parking lot.
I would help people load their gear into their vans and their trucks, and got a good training in physics from that. If you're trying to load a van and you have a lot of gear, you got to have a little bit of a knowledge of physics, which is great. And I mean, it was fun. They actually enjoyed my function as a greeter, because I was very friendly, because it's musicians. I love musicians. So I was friendly, and they appreciated that. So I got sort of fairly regular raises in pay doing that. And then they brought me in for the holidays as well, to do like a bunch of days in a row and stuff. And it was just really wonderful. And it was great, because if you're playing, it's always nice to be close to Long McQuaid. If you run out of guitar strings or guitar picks or harmonica stuff, if you want to buy a new harmonica, everything's just there.
I forgot you had a bi-weekly column in Metropolis.
I did, yeah.
And what was the nature of that column?
Late 80s. It was just me blathering on about whatever crap I wanted to blather on about, basically.
So it's kind of like Cheese and Crackers, which you did in the Nerve earlier in your Nerve days. But
Cheese and Crackers in the Nerve was a little more kind of, focused, because it was cheesy, crackery stuff, right? It was like K-Tel or Deja Voodoo or
Surf and Tapeworms.
Surf and Tapeworms from Venus. I'm trying to think if my column was in Metropolis or Gosh,
According to your resume, it was Metropolis.
yeah.
Didn't you work for
But
I too, though? with
No, I
Stories?
did, but I had the column in Metropolis,
Okay.
and
Metropolis Week. Would that have been where you did the Madonna piece that really pissed me off at the time?
Right.
I remember.
I remember
This is fun.
spitting fire at that one, actually.
Yeah. So the headline, which I will never forget or live down, was "Talentless Madonna Coldly Manipulative."
yeah.
So
What part of that do you most regret?
Well, I kind of don't regret it because I honestly, for me, it's just, this is my opinion, and I don't mean to be cruel or evil or mean about it. It was pretty unenlightened to be so harsh at the time, and I wouldn't do it the same way now, for sure. Even 10 years after that or 5 years after that, I wouldn't do it the same way. It was just a little too hard ass for anybody. And, obviously I'm triggered to some degree, or I wouldn't hate it so much, right? So there's something, anything you're angry about is a reflection on something going on in you. And I absolutely recognize that. And I know it. I get it. That said, for me, Madonna is not very much of a singer and not very much of a songwriter.
She's a good lip syncer.
And not very much of even the dancing isn't much to me. So it felt like, well, this is just a canard being foisted on the public at the time. So it was mean, it was nasty, it was over the top. I would never have done it that way, even 5 or 10 years later, certainly not today. And I acknowledge the fact that something was going on for me there, not so much for her. And I can even talk about that, but we don't want to get into psychoanalysis of Howard here.
You're not wounded then by such criticism as that?
No.
But she got her comeuppance, and you do need to tell that story.
I will tell you this.
Didn't she read your review at a concert?
So no, wait.
Out loud? I mean,
she made me famous. Yeah, haha. Here's the deal with what happened. I was in the offices of Virgin Records, and I was talking to, I can't remember her name, but she was I think either the director or publicist at Virgin Records shortly after, the review happened. And someone said, "Oh, were you at the Madonna show?" I said, "No." Right? So they said, "Oh, do you know what happened?" I said, "Why? What?" They said, "Oh, you don't know?" I said, "No." They said Madonna apparently was playing Holiday and dedicated it to me and said, "This is for Howard Druckman. He needs to take a holiday," and played Holiday.
Oh, that's it then.
So I think that's hilarious for a few reasons. One is that, I'm some teeny little journalist guy at some modest little, alternative weekly in Toronto. This is like, the fact that she would even notice at all is kind of insane to me. And the fact that she would actually say something about it, I thought was wild. And later I talked to the publicist at Warner, I think Roger, I forget his last name. He was saying, yeah, she was having lots of trouble in Toronto, right? They tried to shut down her show for obscenity. There was my review. Apparently, Roger said that when she read my review, she said, "What does this guy wear a condom over his head?" Apparently, the other thing that happened was I thought, wow, this is kind of amazing that, that the printed word still counts for something. It still means something to people. And to someone of that magnitude, it would be like, who the hell cares what some dinky little writer in Toronto is writing about you? Who gives a shit? But apparently there was some power to the written word. And that I thought was a bit of an instructive lesson. And that was the only part of it that felt good to me, was that the written word mattered to her. And I thought that was a good thing.
Thinking about the Madonna thing today with you, and it's interesting. I don't know what your thoughts would be on this, but some of the artists who you've really liked a lot in the last few years, I mean, I haven't listened to them that closely, so it's loosely sort of based premise, but someone like Jessie Reyes, maybe for sure. What's her name? Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah.
I mean, they certainly come right out of the lineage of Madonna, right? Like maybe you wouldn't see it that way. I mean, I think Madonna kind of, did sort of invent a genre, sort of. I mean, obviously the kind of music she was doing was around before, but just having a woman do it and do it in her way where she kind of, was the controlling figure and all that. And I think a lot of the female artists in the pop mode, excuse me, ever since, they feel to me very much like. So I'm just curious how you feel about that, and is it just it's interesting to me that you really have an affection for Carly Rae Jepsen. And I'm not saying your taste isn't your taste. If you really don't like Madonna's record, you don't like her record. But how do you square that?
The thing is, I love Carly Rae Jepsen's voice. I love her songwriting. I love her singing. I love Jessie Reyes's voice. I love her songwriting. I love her singing. I don't love Madonna's voice or her songwriting or her singing. That's what it comes down to. Like as you're saying, conceptually, the idea of a female artist and working in pop and dance and and owning her own stuff and being her own boss and changing the culture, fantastic. On that level, on a cultural level, great. Just don't like the music.
Yeah. Bev, I like your head shaking.
Go ahead, Bev.
I think that the fact that she's sustained this career for so many years, like it's decades, and she's still playing the World Cup and is like she's still kind of heading a lot of things and breaking barriers. And I feel like you're right when you say that, Scott, that she's really had a lot to do with what a lot of these artists that I feel anyways, that artists that Howard likes now. Yeah, anyway, I just really wanted to say that Madonna really, she does have a great voice. It's just a matter of your taste, that's all. And sometimes a person's frequency, a person's vibe is part of that too, that you just don't like what they're bringing forth. But for me as an artist, she's quite incredible. And she does have a really good voice, and she can dance and do all of these things. You can't be doing what you're doing if you can't do any of these things. So, but yeah, it's really just your opposition to her whole vibe, I guess.
Mellow down easy. You mellow down easy when you really want to blow your top.
I'm going to try something, guys, though, if you don't mind, because I have another guest, actually. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, there's Phil.
Okay.
There's Phil.
So, yeah, someone popped in to ask you a question, Phil, or Howard. Pre-recorded.
Hey, Howard, Phil here. Wanted to congratulate you on your retirement. Sorry I couldn't be there. I'm over in Europe right now, tending to some business. I know that Scott and Tim will fill in the world on your career at SOCAN. So I have one question. It's not specifically SOCAN related, but I've known you for a long time, and I was thinking about a gap in my knowledge about you. I think I know pretty much the story since you arrived in Toronto in your 20s, but talk a little bit about music, that your connection to music when you were younger. By younger, I mean younger. Let's say from about 8, 9, 10 through high school. I've written a lot about that part of my life, but I don't really know much about the music you listened to in grade school and a few years beyond that. So that's what I would like to know. Congratulations again, Howard.
Oh, thank you, Phil.
Yeah, congratulations, Howard. We haven't said that to you
Yeah,
yet.
that's true.
So,
and by the way, I don't think Phil's actually in Europe. Just so
I didn't think so either.
not on tape, anyway.
Yeah. So absolutely, yeah. Well, one of my earliest and fondest memories as a kid getting into music was I had this little white transistor radio about the size of the palm of my hand. And when I was about 10 and 11 and 12 years old, I used to listen to, on Sunday nights, our big radio station was CFox, the Fox. And every Sunday night, I think it was like later at night, maybe it was 8 o'clock. I don't know, but I was in bed. I remember being in bed and hearing the Sea Fox top 30, 30, 30, 30. And I would listen to the Sea Fox top 30 and I would hear songs like, I don't know, I guess it would have been about, I don't know, 68, 69, 70, somewhere around there. And I would hear like Bernadette by the Four Tops and Ma Belle Amie by the Teasted and Yellow Balloon by whoever the hell did Yellow Balloon and all kinds of stuff. But all this pop music, AM radio pop music. And of course, as we went and progressed into the 70s, AM radio was the most diverse selection of listening you could possibly imagine. Everything from like really, really conscious black music from about 71 to 76 before disco came, and novelty singles and classical, semi-classical stuff, like all kind of pop, pure pop, rock and roll, all kinds of stuff on the radio. And that was kind of a real grounding thing. Like if you loved music at all, there was so much music and all of it's so different and all of it's so interesting in its own different way that it was a great way to get a broad education in music. Radio, AM radio in the really in the early 70s, 70 to 76 or 77, really kind of made my day and formed where I was coming from in a lot of ways. The other track was that I had a brother who was 3 years older, my brother Carl, with a K. And he was buying stuff before I got to it, of course, because he was 3 years older. So through him, I got to know things like, albums like Who's Next or Deja Vu by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, or, Rolling Stones. The first album I bought, largely because of what Stones records I'd heard through him. My very first album that I ever bought was Get Your Yayas Out, which to me still stands as one of the greatest live rock and roll albums ever made. Still quality, still amazing. And it was just a great, between my brother's albums and my listening to singles on the radio, it was just this grounded thing. And I'm a talker now. I was a talker then, even more so. What I would do was always be talking about, hey, did you hear this? Did you see that? Did you watch the Midnight Special? That was another thing. There was no music video. There was nothing. Sly and the Family Stone were appearing on the Andy Williams show. I was like, oh, I got to watch the Andy Williams show so I can see Sly and the Family Stone lip sync their big song, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself. That was a huge thing. The Midnight Special was unbelievable. And Don Kirshner's rock concert. This was revolutionary at the time.
Who was your first artistic obsession, would you say? Like what artist did you like? I love this band so much, or this artist, and I've got to get off the record.
I would have to say it was a combination of The Who and the Rolling Stones. The Who and the Rolling Stones were very, very, very big. The Who became really big for me beyond a certain point. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite albums of all time is Quadrophenia because, as a 15-year-old from a fairly messed up family, and I know that this isn't the prime period. Everybody loves The Who in the 60s and maybe into the 70s a little bit with Who's Next. But after that, it sort of drops off and no one cares that much anymore. But for me, Quadrophenia was a high watermark. As I say, as a 15-year-old, you're never going to experience music as intensely as you do between the ages of, say, 12 and 22. And at 15, in an upsetting family situation, when you hear something like that, it's just like the thing you can completely relate to. But truthfully, my first obsession, and the one that has lasted the longest, and I'm still kind of obsessed with, is Bob Dylan. I just, I saw him with the band 2 nights in a row at the Montreal Forum because I loved him that much. I sort of found this guy in high school, and it was around Blood on the Tracks, and I just went, oh my God, this guy is amazing. He's Jewish like I'm Jewish. He's a great writer. He's a genius. I bought all the books I could buy to read about him. I went and saw, like I said, 2 nights in a row, the tour with the band. When he came back the next year with the Rolling Thunder Review, I went and saw that as well. And I just, every scrap, everything I could possibly listen to and read and find out, I did. So really, it was Dylan. The Who and the Stones were big, but Dylan was the overwhelming thing when I was in grade, I guess grade 11, which would make me about 15, 16.
Were there any folk roots kind of artists that you liked a lot then, Howard?
Well, Dylan was kind of folk roots,
Besides
but
Dylan,
let's see. Were there any folk roots artists that I liked at the time?
did you like Kate and Anna McGarrigle?
I wasn't as aware of them as I became later, even though they were
Mm.
from Montreal. And I also wasn't yet aware of Leonard Cohen, who was like from right in the backyard,
What
right?
about even Joni? Joni?
You know, as a young person, I was not into Joni. I thought she was arty and pretentious. And I came to eat my words because I have now become like a huge Joni Mitchell fan. She's just absolutely fucking amazing. Some of the best songs ever written in the 20th century, no doubt about it. And you know what? This is something you guys might not know because everybody knows her classic period. But I found this out because Beverly and I watched this TV special about Joni. I think it was the Gershwin Awards on PBS. And we watched this show, and Brandy Carlisle sang a song of hers that floored me. And she said, "Yeah, I like Later Joni. This is from 2007." And she played this song called Shine, which is the title track of an album called Shine that came out in 2000.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely every inch as good a song as anything she's ever written.
Wow.
It's great. Just great.
And then HOTCHA.
HOTCHA?
How does that
Well,
play? How does that play into all this? And I'd love to hear your thoughts too, Bev. So
yeah, I was just going to
Bev, you
say,
can tell the HOTCHA story.
well, I was just going to say there's a funny thing about when we first got together. I mean, we actually met 20 years earlier, and I had seen him through various music things through the years. And we never actually connected so much. But when we finally got together 20 years later, I I had no idea really about his musical uh well his background at all. I knew he was a journalist, but that was it. And then very early on we went to this party and I heard him playing guitar and singing all these songs and I was like, holy he's really good. And it surprised me. I had no idea he even played the guitar. And then it was a little bit later. We had gone to a party at Cavalli's studio, mastering studio, and Kurt Swinghammer was standing there with me, and he just went over to the piano and started playing, and I was like, "What?" I had no idea he played piano either, and he was really good.
wow.
And I was in this band called Solstice when we met, and then Howard was actually playing with a woman named Heather Morgan and I had gone to see him play with her, so I knew then he did play a little bit. But in this band Solstice, the guys I was playing with wanted him to join us, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I'd done that already with an ex-partner, and I didn't want to get involved like that again. But in the end, I found out he was so good at these instruments. I thought, and he sings and everything. I thought, okay, well, I guess we should let him come in the band. And then from there, we just got into doing HOTCHA because I just said, look, I don't really want to do all this kind of, um, you know, improv stuff in between and soloing and shit. I just want to really do a beginning, middle, and end of a song. Let's do that. And so I started writing some songs and we started doing HOTCHA. And it just became this thing. I don't even know how, but it just became this thing of doing, um, Dust Bowl roots kind of pre-war music. And I was writing in that style. And it just, I don't know, it just really suited us. And we thought, okay, well, let's make it a bit more of a visual thing. And so we started wearing the costumes. We started wearing sort of clothing of the era. And it just became like our life. And it really worked. And we went on tour and stuff. And we became sort of like a little comedy act on tour.
Wow.
But anyway, I'll let Howard speak to it a little bit more too. I just thought it's an interesting thing how it all came about.
Yeah. The band we were in before Solstice, I mean, it was a great experience and it was wonderful stuff. But
Yeah,
after a while, it was sort of long, jammy, sort of
jamming. I was trying to think of the
instrumental
word.
stuff. And,
Yeah.
let's take off for this long. So when Bev had the idea to do HOTCHA, it was like, let's do short, sharp stuff and with a lot of energy. And so that was our mission. And that was the idea. And it was a great idea. It was her idea, really, not mine. And so I thought, yeah, I like this. This is a lot of fun.
Strap on the box of fun, sweetheart.
Without my walking stick, I'd go insane. I can't look my post, I feel undressed without my cane. Must have my walking stick, cause it might rain. When it pours, can't be outdoors without my cane. If I ever left my house without my walking stick, well, it would be something I could never explain.
No!
Oh, the thing that makes me click on Lover's Lane. It would go bananas if I were caught without my cane.
Rabbi Baba, Babi Baba, Babi, Scooby-Doo, Babi Baba, Rabbi Baba, Babi Baba, Babi, Scooby-Doo, Babi Baba.
If I ever left my house without my walking stick, well, it would be something I could never explain.
No!
Oh, the thing that makes me click on Lover's Lane. It would go for naught if I were gone without my cane. I can't look my post, I feel undressed without my cane. It would go for naught if I were caught without my cane.
Woo! To you too, thank you.
Go for it, Tim.
I have in my hand here a 40 January 1986, a 40-year-old plus a few months issue of Nerve, which has 1985, a good vintage individual hit lists, including Scott's, mine, a bunch of others, but and yours. So I'm just wondering if I throw some of these at you, whether you think, because I look at some of these. Actually, my list this year is okay. I think okay, that's fine. It was, I haven't listened to most of them for probably 35 years, but it's a respectable list. But sometimes you see those old lists and you just think, oh, what was I trying to prove something or what? Anyway, so right at the top, plasticine replicas. I'm sure you stand behind that. All these decades later.
I'm worried about the plasticine replicas.
The Plasticine Replicas, for my money, were the best band ever out of Toronto. That includes the band, that includes anybody you'd care to name out of Toronto. I just thought they were, and I still think they're the best band to come out of the city, one of the best bands ever to come out of the country. And for me, actually, one of my favorite bands of all time. The consistency of their work, their incredible three songwriters doing different kinds of material, their guitar sound, the chiming and the jangling, and Charlie could really rip as a soloist too. It was just an amazing moment that band had. And so, the Replicas are just my favorite band ever from Toronto.
And they were really nice guys too. And I found out about that band thanks to you. And they were an excellent band. Okay, next on your list, AUAA, which I believe stands for Artists United Against Apartheid, Sun City, 7-inch. I think I had a 12-inch of that.
Obviously, it's dated now, but I just like the groove of it. I just thought it was a really grooving record, I mean, and morally, it was the right thing to do at the time. I think to sort of stand against apartheid in some way. Although the counter argument that Paul Simon made was, well, I go there and local musicians get to play and they get paid union scale, and the world will discover them because they're working with me. So I see both sides of the coin, but still, it was a noble effort, put it that way. But I just love the groove of it.
Musically, I think
City.
it's fair to say that musically it was the best of those kinds of records, right?
I agree.
I think so.
I know that's an opinion, but
no, I agree with that.
Certainly not We Are the World or
I thought
put it this way.
The Canadian one was.
If I heard it today, I would dance to it. If I heard any of the other songs today, I'd just go,
what is this crap?
Okay.
Yeah.
The Northern Lights one is like the biggest embarrassment of all time. But let's not.
Was that Tears Are Not Enough?
Tears Are Not Enough.
Yeah. Oh God.
I guess that was kind of like, now ain't the time for your tears. Yeah, it was just kind of. Yeah,
sorry, if you guys might be friends with some people and part of that, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going here. Husker Du, two albums, New Day Rising and Flip Your Wig.
That was on my list?
Yeah. Oh, yes, nope. That's on your list.
Flip Your Wig?
I don't know that one. New Day
I don't know
Rising,
that one either. I don't know how that made
it
to my list. That's bizarre.
You don't really, eh?
That's crazy. I don't know why I said Flip Your Wig. New Day Rising is one of the great kind of rock albums of the 80s for sure. I was just, that for me, that's their peak. I really liked Zen Arcade, but it was a little too sprawling. New Day Rising was more concise. Really, really, really loved New Day Rising. Still do. Still think it's a great record. Although if I had to pick my favorite Husker Du, now looking back, it would have to be Metal Circus.
Which was before,
probably that was
the first one I bought. I remember.
Yeah, same.
Tim by the Replacements.
Great
album title.
Great album title, Tim. Well, hard not to love the Replacements. Not my favorite of their albums, but still hard not to love the Replacements.
Yeah. Various artists, Go-Go Crankin'.
Yeah, that one's a little dated. Again, if I heard it now, I'd probably shake my bag of bones and move around if I heard it.
That's important.
It's one of those shake your bag of bones type of genres, Go-Go.
And a little taste of your hometown, Deja Voodoo, Too Cool to Live.
Too cool to live, too dumb, too smart to die.
Yeah, too cool to live. ... You filled in the
too smart to die. Anyhow, I just love Deja Voodoo. I mean, two guys, one on guitar, one on drums. The drummer has no cymbals. The guitar player has only 4 strings. Everything is really blurry and sludgy in the guitar. And just really like hilarious, sarcastic, funny lyrics, kind of a novelty. But there was just something about them. They were just really a great live act. One of my favorite live acts of the era, and just tons of fun. Just a really cool, fun night out.
Bev, if you want to chime in here and say, Howard, what were you thinking listening? Please don't.
Please feel free, honey.
To jump in.
I say that often to him.
Jane Siberry, the speckless sky.
Yeah, I actually like Jane Siberry.
Yeah, me too.
I think I took some flack in graffiti from certain quarters for being a fan of Jane Siberry, but there's just something about that stuff that got to me. Great voice, great production, and it's hard to deny Mimi on the Beach.
Yeah, or One More Color.
One More Color. These are good songs.
Lou Reed, I Love You. Not the New Sensations album, just the I Love You, Suzanne 7-inch. That would be 45 RPM single.
I love that he quotes the contours at the beginning. You broke my heart.
Oh, right.
That I can't dance. Now I'm back to let you know I can really shake him down. Or you didn't even want me around. That's it. You broke my heart when you said goodbye. You didn't even want me around. Now I'm back to let you know I can really shake him down. That's the first spoken part of "Do You Love Me" by the Contours, which is a great single. And so I love that Lou quoted that before he went into his "I Loves You, Suzanne." I don't know. It's just one of those really like unexpected for Lou to do something that, I don't know, up and poppy and
Yeah,
fun,
yeah.
and I just dug it.
Talking Heads, Little Creatures.
Yeah,
No.
you
It's
know,
on my list too, and I feel the same.
yeah, I'm not their best album. More like it was more like they have such a amazing body of work up to that point, and there's some good stuff on it. Road to Nowhere is a great song.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a really, really good song.
That
There's
might
a
be the only
few
one I still
others.
like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I can even remember any of the other songs on it. You know what I
Didn't they
mean?
get really cutesy on that one? Like there's
A
this
little
song
bit,
about
yeah.
mommy had a little baby and all that stuff.
Yeah,
It's just like, okay, it's kind of
yeah.
nauseating a little to me now when I hear it. So.
Put it this way: we were honoring. I think Tim. I can't speak for Tim, but I think I was honoring their track record to that point, which was pretty damned impeccable for me. And then that was where the drop off started.
Okay, where are we now? Run DMC, King of Rock.
Hey, come on. Do I have to even say anything? Really?
No, you don't. You don't. Just say Run DMC, King of Rock.
DMC.
I'm the king of rock, 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 rock.
And an old favorite band of yours, REM, Fables of the Reconstruction.
Again, not my favorite of their albums, but pretty high quality, good singles. And yeah, I mean, a sentimental favorite. What can I say?
Yep. Oh, Dundrell's Done One cassette.
I was the cheese and crackers.
Does that
man,
have
so
nothing on TV on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to own up to my cheese and crackers brand.
Yeah.
There's nothing on TV. Would you rather be with me? Family feuds are long past gone. Think it's time to get along, to get along, to get along, to get along.
Eurythmics, Would I Lie to You?
Love that song. Still love that song. Great fucking single.
You know what? Eurythmics is another band that I'm
No, I understand.
kind of
I get
allergic
it.
to.
I get it. I totally get that people can react that way, and there's room for everybody in this conversation, no question about it. But
We've talked a lot about.
I love her vocal on that song, and I love the it's just I don't know, just a really like I can't hear that song and not start moving.
We've
Yeah.
talked a lot about that between us more recently, actually, and I keep saying I never really liked Annie Lennox's voice. I just never. I always thought it was just like she's singing one note and that's it, and it just really bothered me. I didn't like them at first. I got to like them a little bit more later, but not at first.
Yeah. We're almost at the end. Oh, only one to go. Oh, Sam Cooke, Harlem Square Club, 1963. Obviously,
Unbelievable. Yeah. The thing about it, right? The reason that everybody raved about that, the same reason I raved about it, is that Sam Cooke was always thought of as this like smooth soul stylist with an incredible, like sweet voice and doing all these pop songs and soul pop songs. And this live at the club is him like playing the Chitlin circuit and just being like raw and funky and amazing. And it's great to know that that side of him existed and to have it be there so that people could actually hear it and appreciate it.
okay, great. Well, that is your list for 1985, as published
God,
in
40
the
years ago.
January 1986 issue of Nerve.
Good God.
Packing tape boxes, one imaginary line. Too carefully negotiated piles set aside. You can keep the TV, I'll never find the time. That bed we bought together ain't felt like mine in quite a while. Every window's open.
So thanks guys for joining me again. We did a good conversation. I guess that was a few weeks ago now, and we got a lot of great stuff from you, Howard. But some of the audio went a little bit awry when I played it back, so I just wanted to go over a couple of things again. But also, I felt like even though I think we did 3 Zoom calls, 40 minutes each. And at the end, I was like, man, there's still a few things we didn't even get to. But I do think it's kind of important, just given that this is your showcase and given your history in music journalism and promotion and so forth,
Yeah.
and as a huge booster of Canadian music. And I do want to get your, I mean, the original way I worded the question to you, which was kind of lame, was, talk about the state of Canadian music. And certainly I want you to do that, but maybe you can, I'm kind of interested in it, not just from a listener perspective, like all the good stuff that's out there. And I know you think there is a lot of it and you can talk about that, but just even from a Canadian music industry perspective in some ways, like, from your vantage point, like is Canadian music or the Canadian music industry in a healthy place right now? Or, I mean, to me, it's a blank spot in terms of the music industry everywhere because it is the Wild West out, from my vantage point, just as someone who consumes music on Spotify and stuff like that. And I don't really go to live shows. So I have no idea from a kind of music industry perspective how things are right now. So talk a bit about that specifically with regards to Canadian music, I guess.
Well, I think the, the Canadian music industry, um, it's kind of a very broad topic. And, there are existential threats, or not even existential threats, but there are threats. The biggest one and the most obvious one is AI. AI is completely sort of off the charts in terms of what it's going to do. Nobody knows what it's going to do, and there's good sides and bad sides, and like anything else, it's another tool and another technical advancement. And we've had those ever since the player piano. And so, player piano, gramophone, uh, records,
Well,
78s.
sequencers and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's been all these tools, and so and then internet, and then of course streaming. So there's all throughout all of that, there's always been musicians. They've always been making music. Some have been successful, some haven't been successful. There's been an industry that's grown up around each of these technological advances, but essentially they're basically in one way or another selling the music. So I think that is not going to stop. I think that's going to continue. And I think it's not unhealthy. Um, but I think that AI is a completely sort of a horse of a completely different color. It's such a huge quantum leap into the unknown to a large extent. But certainly, um, it's concentrating wealth in the hands of billionaires, is what it's really doing. And it's kind of screwing over everybody else, even though they claim, oh, now you'll be free to write poetry, and now you'll be free to make music, and now you'll be free to do what you want because you won't be tied to labor. Yeah, except you won't have any money, and you won't be able to eat, and you won't be able to do things that you want to do because you won't be surviving. And it's really a tool for concentration of wealth and power in very few hands. So that's the basic function of what I think is going to happen. No one can predict for sure, but that's what I think is going to happen. And that's going to happen, may happen as well. And that's the danger of the possibility of the bad side taking over in the music biz. You're going to see that's the future. But you're asking me about the present. So let's say right now, AI is I don't know if it's an existential threat, but it has the potential to really, really, really mess things up.
Are you talking about the creation of music or the distribution or or
Both,
both? Or, yeah,
both,
yeah. Okay.
but specifically creation.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a handy tool to do tasks that nobody
Yeah.
wants to do. No question about that. But when you're, I mean,
If you don't want to
people,
make music and
people,
you're a
yeah,
musician, then you got a problem. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. But if you're the three things that I know that SOCAN is looking for, and a lot of organizations that are rights organizations want, is compensation, consent, and credit. You got to be compensated if your music is being used as a data point to create new music. You got to be consent to its use in that manner, and you got to be compensated, consent, and credit. You have to be credited some way. So these are the three things that are important, and that's what's happening, and it's really happening right now. I mean, we all talk about the AI future, but it's happening now. So that's a big, 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 big thing in the Canadian music industry and every music industry.
Independent in any setting. She have the etiquette, the ever blessing. They try to bring her down, she don't let it. Tell him forget the memo, get the message. Tell him to move, tell him fling way. One of a kind, should alive for the party.
In terms of the actual music being made, it's as healthy as it ever was, no more, no less. There's always been 10 to 15% of the music that's being created that's absolutely fucking phenomenal and great. And there's always been I would say a large middle of music, maybe 70% that's, okay. And there's 15% that's dreck. And, this is just the way it goes. So I think it's as healthy as it's ever been. In terms of the actual industry, certainly the record companies are doing extremely well, even with streaming, because they're the ones who are, their music is being used. But I think the music publishers and the artists are not really getting their fair share at all because they're not as recognized as owning the music as the record companies are. So I think in terms of industry, you're seeing difficulty.
In your sort of career at SOCAN and Chart Attack and all these other places that you've written for, and as we mentioned early in the interview, your actual like job titles and so forth, they're all quite varied, right? Was there a specific, well, sort of. I mean, they kind of were doing similar thing, but is there a facet of that work that you enjoyed the most? Like, did you enjoy the writing, the editing, interviewing bands? Like, is there something that kind of got you most worked up or excited?
I kind of love it all, but I think not to be, whatever, a starstruck, groupie type, but it's always fun to talk to musicians. It's just fun for me to talk to musicians. And especially at SOCAN, it's been really fun to talk to them about songwriting because I've actually done some songwriting myself with Bev and on my own. And it's just fascinating because the whole process is just, there was nothing there. You sit down either alone or with other people, then you complete some process of some kind, and there's something there that didn't exist before. You're basically out of the air just pulling some sort of creation and making a thing that can be, so impactful and so powerful to listeners, or even just make them laugh, or even just make them dance. But that can create a significant reaction in whoever experiences it. So that is such a weird and magical, or can be a magical process that is just so much fun to talk to people about. How does that work? How did this work for you? How does it work with other people? How does it work alone? There's the whole Keith Richards thing where he just always says, oh, it's just in the air and it comes to me. And then there's other people who say, well, it might come to you, but you need to have the skills to be able to work it and make it go. And then there's Leonard Cohen who just takes 20 years to finish a song, or took 20 years to finish a song. According to him, he blackens pages, right? That was a completely other way of doing it. And in between, there's all points in between of how people make this thing happen. So to me, talking to people about how they write songs is just eternally fascinating.
So, Howard, you're like already a multi-instrumentalist. You play the guitar and the piano and the harmonica and you sing. And I didn't even know when we first met, I didn't even know that you did any of that. So it was really quite a revelation, a really great revelation. But I'm just wondering if you could, what other instruments would you want to learn? Or what have you always sort of thought, oh, that'd be great to play that and just never did it?
I've always thought that I could. I'm not really missing anything. I'm kind of happy where I'm at. But if I had to, I think I wanted to learn the banjo, actually.
Hmm.
I thought that might be the one.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's such a, it's like Steve Martin's old joke, right? When you're playing a banjo, everybody's always happy. You can never be sad. So he's sitting there playing the banjo, going, "Death, taxes, hate, war," and he's playing the banjo and laughing, and everybody's smiling, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
it's actually kind of true. Of course, the other instrument, although I probably could play it, I'd have to learn the bells, is the accordion. But you already do that, Beverly, so I would never do that.
Yeah.
But I love the accordion. It really speaks to me.
We could do an accordion duet.
I guess if I learned it, we could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got to learn how to back and forth with the bellows. That's all,
Yeah.
and how to play the basses.
We could play the
Yeah.
clarinet polka on the duet on the
And there,
accordion.
and there are different kinds of accordions, right?
Yeah,
There are
that's
Many,
right.
many, many.
Macedonians
Yeah.
and all those other, and so some of them don't have the bass buttons. So you
That's
could
Yeah.
just,
true.
And we could do more Cajun music too then.
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. This is the genesis of a new thing for you guys is right here.
Sorry.
We might have to hold you to it.
Well, I'm going to be right back. I'm
Hey,
desperately
Howard,
thirsty.
another thing that came to mind, I don't really have a question about it though, so maybe you could even just do a summary because I was looking back at it. Yeah, no, this is really great. That piece you did for rockcritics.com maybe about 3 years ago, where I think the title of it is something like The Oldest Guy at the Gig.
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
The
I
oldest
really
guy at the
liked
gig.
that piece actually, and it read even better
Yeah, that
to
was
me
good.
when I read it now. Actually, I thought, there's something here that's really like you've captured something that I don't think many other people have written about. I'm sure someone else has explored it somewhere, but why don't you just
Sure.
say what was going through
Well,
your mind, like what made you come up with that piece, and tell the listeners what what it actually was about. I mean,
sure. Well, the thing is, right? I, I mean, the, being so heavily involved with music for my entire life has, I think, to some degree kept me young. I feel much younger than my age. I always have felt much younger than my age. Beverly would probably tell you it's because I'm immature, and she'd probably be right. But, beyond
No, it's
that,
music. Music
yeah,
keeps
but
you
beyond
young.
just being immature, there's a
Yeah.
certain sort of youthful attitude inside of me.
Yeah.
And, I sort of noticed, well, I am a man of a certain age. And I was at gigs and I was just like, wow, everybody here is like significantly younger than me, not just like, oh, a few years or the second eldest person at the gig would probably be about 30 years younger than me,
yeah,
maybe 40.
yeah,
And it's kind of like, wow, okay. So I'm attending all these performances and I still am totally interested in them. And I love all these acts. And part of it is I'm working in music, which I wanted to, which keeps me in being both at SOCAN, where I'm no longer at, and in the Polaris Music Prize, big jury of 200, 300 journalists or whatever it is, music journalists. It's like it keeps me listening to new stuff. And so I can hear things and go, oh, that's great. I love that. What about this? Whereas most people, they're settled down, they have wives, they have children, they have jobs, they have stuff, and it doesn't particularly relate to music. And so people don't listen as actively as I have been. And I get that. That's totally fine. But I just noticed this and I went, oh, I guess I'm the oldest guy at the gig. And then I thought, well, this is an interesting idea because, most people my age, including me, are worried about, well, we don't have children, but are either worried about their children or are worried about their retirement funds or about, uh, the death that's coming for us all or whatever else. But everybody's worried about these concerns that happen when you're older. And I'm still, shaking my ass to snotty-nosed res kids, as Tim will testify, because I dragged him out to see them. Or
Yeah.
or I
Yeah,
just
Howard
danced
knew
my ass
every
off.
word of I was just
Yeah.
standing there. I mean, they were really good, but boy, did I feel old at that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
dancing my ass off
I
last
actually
week.
I actually get to know a lot of the music, and a lot of the music that I now like too is because I hear Howard singing it constantly, like at home or when we're in the car, or
wow,
and he'll go and I'll go, who's that? And then I just get to I just, assimilate it. It's like part of my life suddenly, but that's part of
Yeah.
it. It's just being around Howard, you really get to know music a lot.
Yeah.
Stuff you might never have encountered otherwise.
Yeah, last week I was dancing my ass off on Front Street in front of Union Station because Union Summer was kicking off with a performance by DJ SB, who I love. So it's just like, I love this. I'm just going to dance to it and enjoy myself and have a good time.
Sorry, who's
And,
that?
you know, DJ SB,
Yes.
rapper of sort of
DJ.
queer, black, gender fluid rapper
Yeah.
who lives with cats and is a bit depressive and posts constantly on X and
Yeah.
is just their album The Flower That Knew, which came out in 2024, I want to say, or 25, 24, 25. They've moved on now and they're doing more sort of dance oriented, sort of house oriented stuff. That said, that album, honest to God, it could have been released in 89 or 90 or 91 and would have been right alongside De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest
Oh yeah, yeah. I like
and
that stuff.
Jungle Brothers, right alongside it. Absolutely right in that pocket. Great rap, beautiful, cool samples and vibes and what
Yeah.
they would call today beats. Just so great.
They're a band that you've had a lot of associations with. I know at Nerve, I fully associated you with REM. It was just one of those,
Yeah.
writer band, not mutual admiration societies. That's the wrong way to put it. But there was a confluence between anytime
A little
REM.
bit of
It was
kinship
always like,
there,
what
yeah.
I wonder what Howard thinks of this. And you did at least two or three features on them. Talk about your relationship with them.
Well, yeah. The first time they passed through town, it was 1983, and the same day they came to town, I saw Sonny Rollins, rest in peace now, at Ontario Place in the afternoon,
I was at
and
that show.
he was amazing.
I
He
didn't
was
know
great.
you then. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he was
didn't know
great.
you then either. He was great, 83. And then that night, REM were at Larry's Hideaway, which was, for those who are too young to know, a dark punk hole of about 150
I
capacity.
loved it. I loved
Yeah, which
Larry's
was amazing. I
Hideaway.
mean,
I
the
saw
first time I
Neon
saw,
Rome there.
yeah, I'm sorry.
I saw Neon Rome there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw Husker Du there. I
Husker
saw
Du.
Ornette Coleman there. I saw
Wow.
Me too. And
Los
Sun Ra.
Lobos' first trip there. Like,
Yeah.
great
But
place. Anyhow,
so you like the bands you saw there, but let's face it, Larry's Hideaway was a shithole.
It
oh,
was a
total
hole.
shithole, but
It
a
was a
perfect
hole.
shithole, like a great
Yeah.
shithole.
It had a low
Um,
ceiling and it was
oh
kind
yeah,
of
it was awful, but it was
it
like
felt like somebody's
great.
oversized, crappy, unfinished rec room or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
absolutely. Like I
Yeah.
said, a punk hole, but a great
Yeah.
punk hole. Anyhow,
Yeah.
the music made it all worth everything. So I saw REM there the first time, right? And that was just on the heels of Murmur, which had come out only about
Right.
a month before. And I just saw them and went, oh, fuck, I love these guys, right? Just in love at first sight, just loved them. So the next time they came to town, which was Reckoning, they were playing at the concert hall, and I had arranged to do an interview with Peter Buck. And so I actually went to a record signing they were doing earlier at the Record Peddler. So I met them and hung out, and Bill Berry and I had the same little shoulder bag, army surplus shoulder bag. So we talked a little about that and got to know them a little bit. And then I interviewed Buck and just went, it was a great interview. It was really fun to talk to him. We had a lot in common. He was a lot more well-read than me, but very much a Southern gentleman and a nice guy and just really smart and really funny and a wonderful interview. And I just thought, man, I love these guys. I got to see them every time they come to town. And, it's just a good relationship. So the next time they came to town, that would have been 85 with Fables of the Reconstruction. And they were playing at the concert hall again. And this time I had arranged to do an interview with Buck after the show. So saw the show, great show. Went down to the hotel, which actually was only a couple of blocks from where I live. It was the old Westbury, which is now I don't know what, but it used to be the Westbury Hotel, right there on Young and Maitland, I
Woodbury
think it is.
College. Yeah.
Yeah, Wood
Yeah,
Street.
near.
That's right, Wood. So
Yeah.
the corner of Wood and Young, and I'm at the corner of St. Joseph and Young, so very easy to get to. So I went and we talked, and that was when I was doing the cheese and crackers column. So I did something different with Buck, and we did, what's trash culture to you? So that was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
And then he sort of said, well, do you want to come to Ottawa with us at the end of the year? I said, what? And he's, oh, you want to we'll give you a ride on the bus. You can go to Ottawa and catch the show there. I said, you come on, I'm just dead weight. He said, fuck that. If you feel like coming, you can. I said, okay. He said, be at the hotel at 11 o'clock. The buses pull out and you can ride with us to Ottawa and see the show. And so that's what I did. And it was just amazing, right? They played probably the best show they've ever played at Barrymore's in Ottawa. And just unbelievable show. Just everything clicking, everything going amazing. And it was just amazing. And being on their tour bus and hanging out and spending time with them in Ottawa before the show and getting to know the other guys in the band a little bit. And so
Did you
we
sing
just
Tiny Dancer on the bus? Or?
no, it
No.
wasn't that kind of a thing.
Okay.
Not at all. You're
So you
referring,
were-
of course, to Almost Famous, but no.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
going to say you were like the character in Almost Famous.
Yeah, every person who writes about music and interviewed bands has their almost famous story or moment. This one happens to be mine. Anyhow.
Time